14.1% against the British pounds, and 16.6% against the euro. Mr. Speaker, this is what we are talking about. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the debt exchange program, in 2024, there were serious haircuts. There were serious commitments that the government made, the Kufuor government made, so that this government and this NDC government can reap the benefits. We did external debt restructuring, gave room and space for this government to breathe. By the end of the day, they turn back and chastise us. When we have done all the dirty work for the NDC to enjoy, they are now saying that we did a shoddy job. We cleared the path. We did all the dirty work. We bulldozed our way through, and now you have a clear path to work and enjoy. It is all in the interest of Ghana. So we appreciate whatever. We should appreciate and give credit where credit is due. Mr. Speaker, on the financial sector cleanup, you recall that it was budgeted that we will use 4 billion Ghana cedis on the financial sector cleanup. 4 billion euros. We ended up using 3.5 billion. Mr. Speaker, this money went to save millions, especially in the Securities and Exchange Commission. I have a personal story to tell on this. Up till now, some of my investments are locked up in this, but the good thing is that the previous government, the Kufuor government, made me get some part of it. This government promised in the campaign trail that it was going to ensure that all the people whose monies were locked up in the financial sector cleanup, this government said within 1 year they were going to pay everybody. Now they have backtracked on whatever promise that they gave to the good people of Ghana. And this is how we find ourselves. This is the government that always backtracks on every promise, that almost all the promises that they gave on cocoa, on financial sector cleanup, on teacher dabre, almost all the sectors of the economy. This government is backtracking on its promises, and it has also backtracked on the financial sector cleanup. The promise that they gave, they were going to restore deposited to what level that they were. Mr. Speaker, so in ending, all that I say is that let us give credit where credit is due. We had a blip in our growth. There were issues with our economy, but there was a government who was thinking about the people and the welfare of the people, and they put in measures to ensure that we come out and we come out safe. So we should give credit where credit is due, and we should applaud the previous MPP government in 2024 for doing a yeoman's job, for clearing the way and making way so that the growth that we are seeing now is evident and is being experienced by all Ghanaians. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity.
Yes, Honorable Erikafu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to the report from the Finance Committee expressing the debt portfolio, our debt situation in 2024. Mr. Speaker, from the report and at the observation column 5.1, the report is giving us the debt overhang as at December 2024. It has been quoted as 726.8 billion Ghana cedis, as a debt to GDP ratio of 61.8. Mr. Speaker, this figure is scary. It's a scary figure. Mr. Speaker, to understand what I'm saying, I would like us to take the historical antecedents of our debt overhang. Mr. Speaker, from 2001 to 2004, from 2001, the debt, right, put it on paper, the total debt handed over to MPP's government, J. Kufuor's government, was 5.42 billion Ghana cedis. 5.42 billion Ghana cedis. And yet, they couldn't manage it. They sent the country to the club of HIPIC. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy to quote today that within the 4 years, when they took the government to HIPIC club, we enjoyed $5.7 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is a figure we should quote. Mr. Speaker, by the close of 2008, at the end of the term of J. Kufuor, apart from enjoying all these things, the debt portfolio was 9.73 billion Ghana cedis. After enjoying all these things, 9.73 billion Ghana cedis. The Speaker, this is an expansionary fiscal policy within the second term of President J. Kufuor. The Speaker, when they handed over to Atamoso's and John Dramani Mahama's administration, Mr. Speaker, we added only 26.27 respect to expansion of infrastructure facilities. Mr. Speaker, in total, it was 36 billion. Mr. Speaker, from that time up to the time 2016, NDC exited power, the entire debt portfolio was about 120 billion. Now let's come to what is happening now. Within the span of 4 years, Mr. Speaker, the NPP government, this is the period under consideration, 2024. They added 604.4 billion Ghana cedis, adding to the previous one, making it 276 billion. Mr. Speaker, this is ridiculous. How can you use 8 years to expand the debt portfolio overhang on Ghanaia's head, 604 billion? That's what we are seeing now, with the debt to GDP ratio of 61.8 billion, 61.8%. Mr. Speaker, this is the management of the debt, the national debt the NPP did within their term. So we are saying that, Mr. Speaker, we should try as much as possible to manage our debt very well in the country. Your debt speaks about you. The debt speaks about Ghana, and therefore we should be able to do well. Mr. Speaker, to add more, I know we are not referring to 2025, but let me say that within a span of 1 year, we have reduced the debt from 726 billion to 641. Within 1 year, I think the others will follow. With debt to GDP ratio from 61.8% to 44.7%. That is why we are saying that we are managing the economy very well, and you understand it. So let's say that let's try as much as possible to manage our debt situation very well, which NDC is doing that. I've given you the historical antecedents. It is telling you that NDC, we are managing the economy better than your side. So, Speaker, let me thank you for the opportunity to add my voice to the report, to say that NDC is doing well, we are solving your problems for you. You should be remorseful. MPP should be remorseful. Remorseful of the debt overhang they left for Ghana. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this report. Mr. Speaker, I find it surprising that our colleagues here are still talking about the previous government when it comes to the economy of this country. Mr. Speaker, the previous government left office January 7th, 2025, and it's been more than a year. So I think they should stop accusing the previous government, everything about the previous government. I had my colleague here talking about HIPIC. Mr. Speaker, HIPIC was around J. Kufuor time. If we also go on, then we can talk about PAMSCAD and the Structural Adjustment Program that sold all our indigenous factories, over 300 of them, the jute factory in Kumasi, in Sawam Cannery, Aboso Glass Factory. With all this in mind, that's why His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo brought in, and Dr. Bawumia brought in the 1D, 1F. If these factories were there, you wouldn't have brought in 1D, 1F. You sold all our factories. And now, instead of them to be remorseful and apologizing to Ghanaians that they will continue the 1D, 1F, they are rather going around lamenting and starting 48-hour markets, 24-hour markets. That's why they are struggling with their 24-hour markets. Mr. Speaker, let me take you to page 4 of the report, the table. You could see that gross nominal public debt between 2023 in the dollar denomination reduced from 52 million to about 49 million. A country and a government that was unfortunate to witness the Ukraine-Russian war, that was unfortunate to witness COVID. With the NDC in government, even stone throwing from Iran to Lebanon, they increased fuel prices. Mr. Speaker, they should give credit where credit is due. Mr. Speaker, if you move to 5.6 of the report says that current account balance improved from a surplus of 1.7 of GDP in December 2023, when we were experiencing challenges, to a surplus of 4.3% of GDP in December 2024. Mr. Speaker, the NPL rate even reduced by 300 basis points. Mr. Speaker, I will advise this government to always give credit to the previous MPP government so that we also help them in managing the economy. Mr. Speaker, moving forward, we could see that the exchange rate indexes, even in an economy where we were experiencing wars and natural disasters like COVID, it also improved drastically. Mr. Speaker, I'll end by saying that we support the report, but they should give credit to where credit is due. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Ay3.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Let me commend the Minister of Finance and the Finance Committee for the report on the 2024 Annual Public Debt Report. Mr. Speaker, the conclusion is very interesting. And I quote from page 16. The committee had carefully considered the 2024 Annual Public Debt Report and was of the view that the year 2024 was a difficult year for Ghana, and the market conditions posed significant challenges to the country's debt strategy. The implementation adversely impacting on cost and risk indicators of the public debt portfolio. Mr. Speaker, this report is a consensus, or it was a report that was adopted by two sides of the House. And we unanimously said that 2024 was not a good year for Ghana. So that settles the matter. Mr. Speaker, the Section 72 of the Act, which is the Public Financial Management Act, instructs the Minister of Finance to do the public debt management in respect of, 1, borrowing and other government debt management operations, B, guarantee lending activities of government and other financing arrangements entered in by Ghana. Mr. Speaker, it will interest you to note that if you look at page 4 of the report, the total public debt as at the end of 2024 was 726.6 billion. This is the highest. In fact, President Akufo-Addo alone borrowed more than 13 other presidents combined since the first republic of our republic. Mr. Speaker, aside that, look at 1 year nominal increase. In 2023, the total public debt was 610 billion. And in 2024, it moved to 726 billion. Mr. Speaker, what it means is that in 1 year, President Akufo-Addo accumulated a total of 161 billion Ghana cedis to our public debt. This is the highest we've ever seen in the sub-region. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the components of the public debt, out of the 726 billion, 416 billion, representing 57.4%, represent the external debt component. What this simply means is capital flight. Once your total debt portfolio includes more of foreign debt, it means that you repatriate more money to the other nations. That is capital flight to our economy. And that is why we didn't get good value for money in 2024. Mr. Speaker, it is also interesting to note, and let me proceed, when you look at the domestic debt exchange program. Speaker, let's not celebrate mediocrity. The domestic debt exchange program is a timely reminder to Ghanaians the painful decisions that you took that inflicted cost. In fact, people lost their lives as a result of that. Let's not be celebrating this type of development. Mr. Speaker, the idea of the domestic debt exchange program was because Ghana declared for the first time a country that defaulted on our debt obligations. That was the reason why we approved the IMF. In fact, the Dutch bond and the local issued bonds of government was clear that Ghana was highly unsustainable. For the first time in 2022, Ghana had a total debt to GDP ratio of 104%. It means that when you add all production in Ghana, it could not even service the total public debt of our republic. That was the basis why we approved the IMF for the domestic debt exchange program. Yet, the one who put us in this is still fighting for status in America. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed to the exchange rate development. In 2024, Mr. Speaker, this is what the committee observed, that Ghana cedi, which is currently appreciating by over 40%, depreciated against the United States dollar by 19.2%, 17.8% against the British pound, and 13.7% against euro. What it means is that there was an automatic imported inflation into our economy, because all imported goods, because of the appreciation of the depreciation of the currency, will be a pass-down cost to goods and services that consumers will buy at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, so the debt domestic exchange program shouldn't be celebrated. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, it's important for me to also note, if you look at the external debt service component, what shocked us was that in 1 year, we paid 766 million United States dollars in interest costs. Do you know that the money that we used to pay interest costs could have been used to complete all the Agenda 111 hospitals? The Afari hospital that you visited, this interest cost that you paid could have been used to deal with that matter, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the interest rate structure of Ghana, and with your permission, I'll read from page 10. The interest rate structure of the external debt represents 70.4% fixed interest, variable interest of 16.8%, and interest-free debt of 12%. What it simply meant was that Ghana's domestic of external bonds were highly expensive. Mr. Speaker, My brother mentioned about the banking sector cleanup. I think this issue has been overflogged. There was an asset quality review in 2021. In fact, President Mahama started it in 2016, but it was completed in 2021. The decision was clear. You needed 9 billion Ghana cedis to solve this problem. You ended up by spending 3.5 billion euros in solving a 9 billion Ghana cedis problem. And you said we should clap for you. Ghanaians still have issues to deal with that. Mr. Speaker, on credit ratings, that's where I will land. On credit ratings, Mr. Speaker, for the first time, a former finance minister suggested that Ghana should also, or Africa should also get our own rating agencies. And what was the reason? The reason was simple, that the credit rating agencies described Ghana as a junk economy. The verdict out there was that Moody's, S&P, even JP Morgan's rated all our stocks junk. We couldn't borrow favorably in the international market. COCOBOD couldn't even secure the usual syndicated loans that we are used to. But today, what are we seeing? All the rating agencies are giving Ghana positive economic outlook and stable macroeconomic environment. In fact, that is the reason why Ghana even qualified for a PCI program, because we have a stable macroeconomic condition. And finally, the recommendation is important for me, Mr. Speaker, and I think the Deputy Chief will mention it, that Ghana, we should stop borrowing for non-productive investments. We should borrow for things that are self-financing. For example, he talked about the airports. Any airport that we are doing should be able to pay for itself, so that SOEs do not borrow money and later government of Ghana has to absorb as a central government cost, like we are witnessing in COCOBOD. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I will say that the House should adopt the committee's report as a true reflection of what happened in 2024. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Deputy Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm yielding to Honorable a member of the committee.
Very well.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity to comment on your committee's report laid by the Finance Committee to this House regarding the 2024 annual public debt position. Mr. Speaker, this is a constitutional requirement. If you take the Public Financial Management Act 2016 Act 921, it is mandatory that the Minister of Finance present an annual public debt report in accordance with Section 72 of the Act. And so ordinarily, this is a mandatory report that is expected to be presented to the House. This report also affords us an opportunity to take stock of how we have performed in terms of our debt position as a country, so that we can learn lessons from them going forward. So the 2024 public debt report has given us some insight into how Ghana has progressively grown in its public financial management as well as the public debt position. I would like to initially respond to some of the comments made by the ranking on the chairman of the Economic Committee, Honorable Afol. You know, I at times agree when we make some political jabs on the floor, but it is also important to be factual to the facts before us. You can't approbate and reprobate. He was using nominal numbers to determine how far our public debt has grown. But if you check in terms of debt to GDP, some of the worst moments we have encountered as a country was in the year 2014, 2015 under your administration and watch. Mr. Speaker, in 2015, the total debt, public debt to GDP stood at 72%. And in 2016, it stood at 73%. If you take this report, Mr. Speaker, and you come to the observation 5.1, it is saying that the total GDP as the government of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, even having come from a very terrible backdrop of 2019-2020, was able to sell this country to a debt position of 61%. And so you can